earlier. It was moved to the end of the calendar. Senate Bill 1781. Is there any objection to Senate Bill 1781? Mr. Stickland? Mr. Stickland, do you do you have 5 signatures, or do you intend to speak for 10 minutes?
I intend to speak for 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Stickland. Could you please come down front? Senate Bill 1781, the clerk will please read the bill.
SB 1781 by Menendez, relating to euthanasia as a last resort in a county or municipal animal shelter in certain counties.
Chair recognizes Mr. Stickland for 10 minutes.
Members, I rise before you today in opposition to this bill. We'll go ahead and read it if that's what the author wants us to do. To be enacted by the legislature of the state of Texas, Section 1, Subchapter C, Chapter 821, the Health and Safety Code, is...
Members, I would ask that you leave the members when they have the floor and they're at the mic. Allow them to speak and not interrupt them. Mr. Stickland, continue.
Euthanasia of certain animals prohibited. This section applies only to the county, one with a population of more than 1.5 million that contains a municipality in which at least 75% of the country's population resides, or that borders the United Mexican States and the Gulf of Mexico.
Mr. Speaker, will the gentleman yield?
Does the gentleman yield? Does the gentleman yield, Mr. Stickland?
I yield.
Gentleman yields.
Jonathan, what do you got against puppy dogs? This is about saving the puppies.
I actually appreciate you asking that question, Representative. This is about the dogs, to be honest with you. This bill was brought to my attention by some constituents of mine that I care deeply about in Bedford, Texas. And these aren't just people who say they like dogs. These are people who have literally spent their blood, sweat, and tears at the Bedford Animal Shelter in my district, House District 92. These are women who volunteer on an almost daily basis at our animal shelter and give money and give time and sit on the board of directors of the Bedford Animal Shelter. They're the ones who came to me and asked me to stop this bill. Because one of the things we've been dealing with in my city is a group of folks who are after a program called TNR, and that stands for Trap, Neuter, Release. And we have a major problem in our city with feral cats and stray dogs. These are animals that will never be able to be adopted out. And the people who care about the animals and spend the time at the animal shelters, under regulations like this, will never be in a situation where they could put these animals that are never going to be fit to be adopted or have a good life. It would force them to waste their resources, their limited resources, just one second, waste their limited resources on animals that don't have a chance. And in some cases, these animals, that this legislation would make it illegal for us to euthanize in a humane way down. I say that's not good. And if you support animal rights like I do myself, and you're looking out for the betterment of these animals, then we don't need to adopt policies here at the Capitol. What we need to do is allow the local animal shelters, the people who are giving their time, energy, and money, who put their heart and soul into taking care of these animals, let them make the decisions. They know the resources that they have available. They know exactly what the budget is and how much money they have to spend. Let them make the decisions. We need to quit letting Austin put mandates down onto local control. This is one of the things that we fight against all the time as Republicans. And when you have a situation where someone's life, liberty, or property are not being infringed upon, then I say we make as many of the decisions that we can at the local level.
Testimony again. Mr. Speaker, will the gentleman yield?
Mr.
I
Rinaldi,
yield.
gentleman yields.
Have you looked at the witness list for this bill, Mr. Stickland?
I don't have it in front of me. I did glance at it, Representative Rinaldi.
Did you notice Jeff Coyle from the city of San Antonio testified against this bill, along with Dr. Tamara Walthall of the Texas Veterinary Medical Association Shelters Committee? Were you aware of that?
I was not aware of those specific names, but that seems consistent with the people that I've heard from who make this their life's work, who are opposing this legislation.
And I'm informed, though Jeff Coyle's changed his position on the bill, that Dr. Walthall of the Texas Veterinary Medical Association, do you believe that she cares about how these animals are treated?
I would absolutely assume so, yes.
Are you aware that the Director of Health for the city of Garland, Texas, has testified against this bill?
Yes, I am aware of that.
And are you aware that Chris Copeland of the Texas Veterinary Medical Association was shown as registering but not testifying against this bill?
Yes.
And do you have any reason to believe that those individuals wouldn't be looking out for the best interest of the animals?
See, here's the problem, Representative Rinaldi. People think that we're up here, that this whole thing today on the local and consent calendar has been some kind of show, that it's been about political retribution. I've had folks ask me, is this because the pro-life bill died last night? It's not. I have specific legislative concerns about every single bill that I've had a part in killing today.
And I only have one last question, too. Isn't it true that this bill actually prohibits animal shelters from euthanizing animals that have highly communicable diseases other than rabies?
Thank you.
I said, Mr. Stickland, are you aware that this bill, as opposed to the Senate engrossed version, actually prohibits animal shelters from euthanizing animals with highly communicable diseases other than rabies?
And that's one of the major concerns that I have, and that's why animal lovers and supporters of our animal shelter from my district have literally been calling my cell phone for the last week asking us to stop this legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Stickland.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, ma'am.
would the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am, I yield.
Gentleman yields.
Representative, may I have the remaining time to lay out the bill?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Members, this bill affects the euthanasia of animals and animal shelters strictly located in Bexar and Cameron County. There are certain circumstances that require a shelter to make the tough decision to euthanize. All this bill is asking is that shelters use every available space intended for animal habitation. Many reputable shelters already have this policy in place. There have been many myths about this bill, but here are the simple facts. This is a local bill affecting only 2 counties, Bexar County and Cameron County. It does not mandate anything. It provides a great deal of flexibility to shelters while simply requesting that an expiration date not be set on any dog or cat. We have worked diligently with the stakeholders to address their concerns, and now only non-impacted counties are complaining. What I will say, members, is that Senator Menendez and I have worked diligently on this bill that San Antonio has asked us to pass, and unfortunately, we understand it's not going to pass this session. However, at this point, what I want to do is just share simply a letter from the City of San Antonio, who was sent to the Bexar County delegation, which it stated, Bexar County delegation, the City of San Antonio has worked very closely with the offices of Senator Menendez and Representative Mijares on SB 1781, which relates to the euthanization of animals at shelters in Bexar and Cameron counties. The city has requested one last revision that is critical to the successful operation of our shelter, and both members have agreed to make that revision in conference committee, which would alleviate our concerns. We are grateful to Senator Menendez and Representative Mijares for their efforts on this bill and share in their goal of using euthanasia only as a last resort. Since the City Council passed a no-kill policy, the city's live release rate has gone from 26% in the fiscal year 10 to 85% in fiscal year 15. Thank you for your consideration, City of San Antonio. Members, this bill was one that was important, and it was strictly for San Antonio, Bexar County, and Cameron counties. This is something that the city wanted. However, we couldn't get past this session. What I do want to say is I want to thank those Republican representatives that try to help me in getting this passed. It was not an easy effort, but we worked diligently to get it through state affairs and doing our part to get it passed today. We know that we can't get it done this time. We will continue trying. In lieu of the time that's remaining, I'm going to ask the bill be pulled down.
Oh, she withdraw. Senate Bill 17.